Alright guys, so today I'm going to show you how to create your very own value scale. Okay, so start by getting a blank sheet of paper, and then we're going to draw a big rectangle in the middle of the paper that fills up most of the space on our paper here. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. If you want, you can use a ruler if you're looking for something that looks really perfect, but that's not the goal for us. Okay, so I'm just going to freehand this rectangle. Start by drawing a top line, and then I'll draw a bottom line, and then I'll just connect them. Okay, just like that. Then we want to divide this into 9 separate blocks. Okay, so we're going to do that by making little marks right here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They don't have to be perfectly even apart, but do the best you can to try and space them out. So I make those marks so that way I can kind of make sure that my spaces are pretty even. And if I need to move them, I don't have a whole line drawn through it. So I would make these tiny little marks on there. Make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 marks, and that will give you 9 separate spaces. So mine look pretty close to even, so I'm going to go ahead and draw those down. All right, once you have that, don't worry if you have some squiggly lines or anything like that, it's okay. You can even it out if it bothers you. So once you have that on there, so the furthest left of these boxes will be the white of the paper, and then the furthest right is going to be as dark as our pencil will go. So the best way I feel like to approach this is to start off with the darkest box. So start to kind of fill that box in with a light shade. Go one direction with your pencil, and then a different direction with your pencil. And then just start to make that darker and darker by adding more and more pressure as you're going, okay? And we're just going to get that box as dark as it'll go. So you may think you're finished when you get to this point, but you just want to keep going, keep building up those layers. You don't want any little white spaces peeking through. It's going to go as dark as we can go. You might need to take a break in between coloring this part in, because it can start to maybe hurt your wrist or your hand a little bit. So if you need to take a break, shake off your hand, feel free. You don't have to fill it all in all at once, but get this square as dark as your pencil will go. I think that's about as dark as I'm gonna be able to make it on here. Okay, you might see some spots that you might need to touch up here and there. But as soon as you've got it all filled in, as dark as it'll go, then pick one of these middle squares and just lightly fill that one in. Kind of like just a middle value. Okay, just kind of lightly, one direction, two directions, because this is going to be your middle value. So you're going to be building up these steps to get to this value. And then on the far end, this one is going to be white. So you just leave this box the white of the paper over here, okay? So our goal is going to be to go a little bit lighter than this one, a little bit lighter than this one, a little bit lighter than this one, a little bit lighter, and just keep moving on until we get to the white of the paper, okay? So I'm going to start filling this one in. And just get it as uniform. And try to make it all one solid shade, okay? One value. You don't want it to look patchy. I think I need to go a little bit darker with this one. And sometimes it's hard to tell if you need to go lighter or darker, but that's why we put this middle one in here. So that way we can kind of compare when we start to move towards that one. Okay, so I'm going to move over one more. And I want it to be just a little bit lighter than the one next to it. And just slowly getting lighter and lighter until we hit the white of the paper. Okay, so this right here is telling me that this one probably needs to be darker, because this one looks pretty similar to my middle one, and I still have one more step in between that I need to get to. So I'm going to go ahead and move back over to this one and make it darker. And you can do side to side, up and down, little circles, whatever you're comfortable with. Okay, so now that one's a little bit darker, I think I'm going to need this one a little bit darker too. Okay, and then I'm going to do this one just a little bit lighter than that box. So this is looking pretty good. So that you can tell this one is a little bit lighter than this box is a little bit lighter than this box, this one is a little bit lighter than this one, okay? And that's all kind of fading out. So now I'm going past my midtone, so now I want to make it lighter than this one right here, the next box. So let's see. See, these two look pretty similar to me now. So when that happens, I'm going to have to make this one a little bit darker. And when I do that, it's probably going to have to make me make all of my other boxes just a little bit darker too. So now this one is lighter than this box, but these two are about the same. So I've got to come back and make this one darker again. And now these two are about the same, so this one needs to be darker. Okay. And now I still think this one is a little bit lighter than this one, so I think that's okay. Starting to fade out really good. Okay, so now we're going to go even lighter. And try to maybe take like the side of your pencil and really go really lightly. I'm barely pushing down on this pencil at all. Really lightly. Okay. And then one more, even lighter. So now I feel like this one needs to be just a little bit darker. This one, just a little bit darker too. And this one's okay. And now maybe this one a little bit darker again. So it's all about just going back and forth and making sure that these steps look like they're gradually getting lighter. After you have the scale sketched out pretty well, you can take a piece of tissue paper or a paper towel will work, and we're going to blend these colors together really well, or this pencil together on the page. So that way it'll try to kind of hide some of those marks. Just take that paper towel or tissue paper and just blend that together real well. And after you do that, you might notice that you might need to go back over top of some, come back and make it a little bit darker. And then blend it out again. Okay. Do you have that? Let's try to clean up these lines a little bit. And go back over your box. So that looks as clean as we can get it. That looks like we have a nice solid value scale. And so that is how we create our own value scale.